I'm going to show you guys, show you some blues chords that I like to use. Pretty common, but just going to review some of them with you here. We're in the key of A like this. You got like an A bar chord, or if you want to look at it like that, you get rid of the E there and the A here. So we have the low A, we'll get rid of the octave up there on the bar chord, we'll have flat 7 and the third. So there's your A right there. When you go to D, you might already know this shape here. You're just going to refinger it so you use the first 3 notes of the chord, so D, F sharp, and C. Root, third, flat 7. So the first one is root, flat 7, third. Next chord goes to 4 on the D. It's D, F sharp, and C. Then you up to E for the 5 chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now with these chords you could go chromatically on the 4th beat. You can go above or below each chord coming in. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Kind of did a little different rhythm on the last one on that. There are different ways you can approach it, but essentially, you know, on the last beat you can go a chromatic above or below each chord approaching it in. Sometimes when I go to the 4 chord, you know, I let some of those other notes ring. Sometimes you can just go with a 3 note. You just got to make sure you mute these other strings. What's kind of cool too is if you omit the root of these chords, you get a different sound. You just play like the tritone, this part of the chord here, the flat 7 and the third, and then that moves down on the D. This becomes the flat 7 of D, that becomes a third there. When you go up here for E, there's your third of E, and then there's your flat 7. So if you got just sneaking in a couple of bass notes there so you can just hear how the chord, these 2-note chords sound against, you know, like a bass or if another guitar player was playing. The other thing you can do with this chord is put the 13th on top of it. If you use the same form here, you've got A, G, and C sharp. You can put F sharp on the top. Which is, so we've got A, G, C sharp, F sharp. This is the 13th. We go to the 4 chord. We flatten out our finger here, so we'll cover up the C and the E together. That's the 9th on top of that chord. Now on the 5 chord you can use the 9th, sometimes a sharp 9, because you're going down to this with the 13th here. You can kind of see there's a few different ways of looking at that, how it chromatically goes down, you know. So if we put our chromatics on it like can slide into the chord too, like that. You know, same with this one. You know. And same thing with the two-note chord we were talking about earlier. You could also slide into that too, like. It's almost like I can get into some B3 kind of stuff, kind of feeling stuff, you know. We'll get into that down the next few lessons too. Just one other chord to throw in with this, going into these two that leads well, is C sharp minor 7 flat 5. So you've got on the 4th fret C sharp, 5th fret G, B, and E. It's also a A 9th chord, A dominant 7th 9th chord. I mean, technically this is a, right, so you got, for this next chord we'll do the C sharp minor 7 flat 5, and that's just also considered a 9th dominant 7th chord. It's a very T-Bone Walker, you know, kind of chord. When you go to the D7 too, you could also put A in the bass. So all you're doing is taking your D7 9th chord, D dominant 7 9th chord. You put A in the bass there. So what you do too is when you roll this chord like this, you can kind of also lay your finger down on the high A here like this, and then kind of come down